Basic qualification of HR is to listen, right? So I think I listen a lot. In fact, I want everybody to talk, listen, finally deliver what is okay. The best part I love this Gen Zs for is they listen to you and they accept it if it is right, if they feel it is good. Their validations are wonderfully done in minutes. When you talk about their expectation, as in like, accept money, what all do you expect? They expect a very flexible environment, right? Don't ask me to come at 8 o'clock itself and sit in one place fixed like this. No, give me some space. Allow me to think, right? So they want that kind of a flexibility where they'll be able to think on their own, or innovate things. Come to you with better ideas where the work can be simplified, where work that takes a task that takes for about 1 hour to finish, they'll be able to finish in 5 minutes. But that all happens only when you give them space for them to think.
Right. Welcome to the Thought Feed by Inspirasis Solutions Limited. Today's discussion is more relevant than ever, and workplaces which are brimming with diverse workforce, we have many challenges, many advantages, because every person is unique. Every person, person as in every employee needs are quite different. Where on one hand we have a range of employees who bring wealth of experience. On the other hand, we have a section of employees who bring fresh perspectives, new energy to the organizations. So, as you can already guess that I'm going to touch upon the varying generations that we have in the organizations, and the interesting topic is Gen Z, understanding Gen Z, and what could be the challenges within the organizations, or what could be the greatest benefits of having Gen Z in the organization, something that we're going to discuss today. So we continue to have Isaac with us. Hi Isaac.
Hi Annie, how are you?
I'm very good. So Gen Z is the hot topic of the day.
Very interesting topic when you say Gen Z. But then, before we start, I would just want to give a clarity on what is Gen Z. You have so many names that are defined under each category based on the years, right? So when you talk about 1946 to 1964, they are called these baby boomers, okay? And when you talk about 65 to 80, they are called Gen X. And when you talk about 81 to 96, they are called the millennials.
Yes.
I hope you are aware about that, right?
Yes, I am one of them.
Okay. And when you talk about 97 to 2012, they are called the Gen Zs actually. So that's where we are going to discuss about Gen Zs. And there's something called Gen Alpha, which is 2012 and plus.
Yes, absolutely.
Which we will not get into as of now, because we stop with Gen Z because that's the point of discussion for us today. Very interesting, set of people who are born in this Gen Z, time zone as such. Interesting to work with these set of people.
So, how has been your encounter, or have you had? I'm sure you've had encounters with Gen Zs, personally and professionally. How has it been?
It's definitely a challenging task. You need to speak only once. You need to address all of them at one shot. You cannot go and talk to Gen Z ones. You cannot go and talk to, of course, I'm not working with baby boomers now. But then you need to talk to other set of people also, okay, where everybody has to understand the same way, the same language, the same tone, the same message, okay. It's definitely a tough task, but then I've been pretty successful in doing it because, being a manager doesn't mean that you have horns where you convey everything at one shot. It needs a lot of patience, understanding, where you think a lot before even talking, because everybody will have their own thought process when you call this word called assumptions. So I might tell you something, but it will end up in something else, right? So that's how your communication has to be very clear when you talk about any instruction that you give to your team members. It could be anything, right? It can be spoken only once, but it has to be understood by everybody. Yes, I'm enjoying that.
So I'm sure you have different age group people in your own team. So how has it been working with them?
It's been definitely wonderful, because I mean, I'm blessed to have a wonderful team who understands when we look at people to do something itself, right? That it's a blessing. That itself is a blessing for us. So even if I had to explain, I call everybody at one shot, have a meeting in common. I explain them and only once, right? And I give them the specifications of what is required, where are we heading to, and what is going to be our output, right? And what is expected by the management. So all that clarity has been given at one shot, and fortunately, unfortunately, everybody understands it the time I explain them or the moment I explain them. So I haven't faced much of difficulties, but just that energy level of Gen Z is extraordinary. You would not even think about an energy level, but then you will be able to see that energy.
You can feel the energy.
Yeah, exactly. You heard this word called vibrant, personality. So I see them in my team, and sometimes I say, calm down, calm down. Okay, no problem, no problem. And that's how you train your team, and they finally understand. In a meeting, they need not boil, and they need not burst. Just that they understand, they listen to us, they get all the inputs that is required, and then they deliver. So that's what has been expected. And yes, they've been really wonderful, working, and all of them are gems today. And I love working with all these set of people. I've been working with these different age groups, people who are Gen Zs also. Interesting to work with them, and in fact, we can learn a lot of things from Gen Zs also. It has been told that the people in Gen Z are born with some technical knowledge, all right? So, and I'm able to see that as well, and that's how we learn. Learning does not have any age limit as such. So we keep learning from everybody, and I make it a point that I learn from all my team members. I might be good at one thing, but I might lack in something else which I can learn from somebody, right? So I look for every positive, opportunities to learn from one of my team members, and that's the reason for my success as well.
I recollect in one of the episodes when we were talking about hiring fresh graduates. So, of course, they are also the part of Gen Z. So, also you mentioned that you've gone for talks, pre-placement talks, and things like that to different colleges. So, what is it something that they come up with? Like when you ask them what are your doubts or how do you want to know about the process in an organization, what are the questions that they come up with? Are they any different from the regular, people that from the previous generation, or they have something more inquisitive to know?
There are two ways to look into it. When you go to these colleges, when you address students, they are more eager to know what do you have to offer them. Right? It's not that a company comes for a campus recruitment and everybody sits for a test. Gone are those days where we wait for a test paper, we write and we get selected. Gone are those days. Now people expect, what are you going to give me, right? Of course, cost definitely matters a lot. But apart from them, what food do we have to feed them? How can we feed them technically? What can I learn from this organization? What can I gain, or what can I gain in working in this organization? How well will I grow? What is my professional growth path? This is like, it'll be like they are so fast that they want to know everything at one shot, which is definitely not possible, because as you progress step by step, you will be able to grow, right? Even if you say they will not be able to understand, but never mind, they want to know. Right? And if you give them that space for them to express, listen to them, and then you respond to them, they accept it.
Correct.
It can be the same solution that you gave to your earlier generation. If you give the same solution, you just have to listen to them and answer accordingly. Okay?
Right.
The way that you answer, the way that you put forth the responses for all the questions that you get, they are ready to listen. But first, you need to listen as a HR. I believe that all of the HRs would agree with me that the basic qualification of a HR is to listen, right? So I think I listen a lot. In fact, I want everybody to talk, listen, finally deliver what is okay. Yeah.
That's what any employee actually looks forward to, that somebody has to be with us so that we can tell them and that person listens.
Right.
Unfortunately, most of the time things happen in such a way that people are not given the opportunity to talk.
Right.
and their voices are not heard, and that's where this whole disengagement starts.
Right.
And when it comes to Gen Z, they are very clear. I mean, what I feel is they're very clear in certain aspects, like this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is what I will do, this is what I might improve, and I probably want to work towards it. But somewhere there's some kind of a clarity there. They would not probably beat behind the bush or something like that. So they are somewhere clear in that way. So talking about that, I mean, within families itself, there are several generations living together. So if I have a particular thing to do, take for example just a kitchen. Or maybe I want to have my kitchen in a different way arranged. My mother has a different perception altogether. She has a different view to see the kitchen or see the hall or anything. My grandmother, on the other hand, has a ultimately it doesn't match with either my mother or myself.
Yeah.
So within the family itself, with the people whom you've grown, you've lived with, there is so much of conflict. How difficult or how challenging it is to handle several age groups in one organization?
Yeah. That was a wonderful question, though. Yes, when you actually told that these people are, black and white, they are on your face. Be it correct or not, they are on your face, which is good. You would see that innocent questions coming out from their mind, heart, all put together, that energy which is bursting out. Just a quick example which I can give you, or which I can think of now. I went to a college, and end of the day we talk about this cost basically. So when it comes to cost, I said, I was asking what is your expectation. People said,
cost as in the
salary as such.
Okay.
Yeah. So wherever we go, end of the day we come to the salary part of it. So that is pretty interesting. So I asked them, what is your expectation? Somebody said 40, somebody said 50, somebody said 60. I said, okay. I kept listening. Yeah, okay. Fine. I assume that I'm giving you 40. What will you do with that 40? So what work will you give me in return? They said, for that you need to teach me, sir. So for that, cost has to come down. I need to count that. So then I started from there. Okay, so I give you 50. Training cost is gone 10. Then again I said, so what about the system? What about the connections that you require? What about your gadget stuff? Sir, you should only provide me. Okay, another 10 for that. Okay, yeah, done. So now out of 50, you'll end up at 30. Then I asked them okay, now with whom you need to work and what project you need to do or what kind of a training program you need to undergo, all this has to be decided by the organization. So end of the day, it doesn't mean that I need to reduce it to 10 and say that come and work with me for 10. I'm not coming to say that. Just that you need to understand that there is some amount of interest taken by the organization to train you where your expectation cannot hit the sky.
Yeah.
Right? So then when I explained, the best part I love this Gen Z's for is they listen to you and they accept it if it is right, if they feel it is good. Their validations are wonderfully done in minutes. When I explained this, the training cost and all that, then finally everybody calmed down. They came down and said, sir, 30,000 is enough. I asked, why did he say 50,000? My friend actually got 50, so I am getting 50. What mark did your friend get? He got 90 marks, sir. What marks did you get? I got 60 marks. Why is that 30 mark difference? So that's where they want some kind of example that they can, understand very well.
Right.
When you are kind enough to explain them and when you're patient enough to tell them this is what it is all about, they accept it.
But again, marks become secondary, right? It's more, once they, as freshers, since we covered that part in our episode, where they are still freshers, they need to, enhance their skills further. Like you said, they cannot immediately have a skyrocketing salary package.
It's like the crorepati that you say, you answer the 14th question, you get the first, 1 crore directly.
Yeah.
So freshers come directly and sir, ask me the 14th question. It's like that.
Yeah.
Which is not possible.
Correct.
Yeah.
So somewhere they need to work on their skills, and with experience and whatever,
Definitely.
then further it moves. So coming back to the question of now that these Gen Zs have already entered the workforce, how are the previous generation people or employees feeling about it? What do you think?
You're talking about the challenges.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Raf, I'm sure since you've been in the industry for a very long time and you've interacted with so many people who are, veterans in the field and who are who've been there, especially when it comes to, our organization is a very old organization, somewhere starting in 91, and then we have so many people. I mean, as I mentioned in the beginning, wealth of knowledge with whatever they have. How is it? How does the older generation receive the new generation in terms of workplace?
Yeah. When you say veterans, I think hats off to all the veterans who actually helped us to be here, right? Somewhere or other, they made way for us to get into this organization, and I think some kind of a trust that they had in us. That's where we are here. And kudos to all those set of people who actually started the process. They may not be great implementers of the process that has been created, but creation itself requires a lot of energy,
Right.
thought process, alignment, streamlining stuffs, the free flow of the process. All these are very tough actually.
Right.
Where older generation people were able to do that extremely well. If you compare the older generation and today's generation, I think today's generation is in a hurry, right? You want to go fast and board the train to go where? To get on to the next stop. But why so much of hurry?
I mean, at the same time, like they have their pluses and minuses again.
Definitely.
That energy works for them in most of the places.
Yeah. If you recollect, whatever you studied in your theory could be applied in practical according to older generation.
Yeah.
Now, application of theory into practical, I'm not sure how many of them do that.
Yeah.
Or if you are allowed to do that basically. For selecting a candidate, you look for the attitude first of all, and then comes the skill. You don't look at the skill and you then immediately say that this person is selected. No.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of differences. I mean, there are positives and learning points when you compare both these generations. The best part is, like, I would like to share 5 points with you, which will actually help us understand the challenges that we face working with the older generation and the current generation. The first, which I want to tell you, is about the biased decision that we actually take. We go with always a predefined, solution in our mind, or an assumption that is already there in our mind. If this person is a fresher, he would not fit into this requirement. I mean, from where did you get this idea?
Yeah.
Come on.
Not even interacted.
Not even interacted. You've not even got through. Not even seen the person face to face. Not even an online discussion happened. But how do you come with that idea? There's something which is already predefined, that somebody who's coming new is not eligible or will not be eligible to do some work, which is actually biased. So this is just one case which I'm just telling you. There's so many biased decisions that we already have, and we have things already in our mind which is stored, saying that if this is there, it will not happen. If that is there, it will not happen. More of negativity, which will not work with
Is that a fear of change?
We'll come to that. I have a lot of things to explain when it comes to that. So I'll go step by step.
Okay.
Yes, it is actually part of that, which I will cover in my, the next points that are coming up. This bias, I think we need to get rid of this first of all. You need to have that trust factor with somebody who's going to come new, and you give him all energy that is required if you have. If you don't have energy, I think,
our energy matters.
Definitely, yeah. So you need to share your energy, throw some light on that person and say, boss, you are able to do, you will do it. Don't worry, we are there to back up. How many of us say today as managers? Many of us don't say. That's very important these days. And I read in a couple of articles where absenteeism is actually a word which I went through when you compare the older generation. I don't know why absenteeism as such. Is it because of the seniority that they take pride in taking, coming to office late, going back early, or they want to take all the privileges that's been given to the organization with all pride? I mean, gone are those days where we feel proud about, feeling that we are the employees. It takes me back to the olden days of college, where we had these ragging sessions with seniors and juniors, right? Do they expect us to be frightened just because they are seniors? Come on, give me a break. we are no more in that set of world, right? We have totally evolved in a different level, where today if you're looking at that, you are definitely called a boomer. Okay. So, and if you're called a boomer, I've seen a couple of faces going very reddish and shrinking on when you're called boomer. Why? You need to accept that. When you're able to accept that, that's how we show everything in our face. The moment I call you boomer, your face turns red and it shrinks like this, and you're not able to see that person the next minute and you just walk away. The level of acceptance, let it be. Let be the boomer. No worry, no problem. You have your own unique way of handling things. So doesn't matter, right? So that set of the thought process itself has to change. So coming back to this absenteeism, right? Is it because of that proud feeling that they're able to do all this, or are they?
Could be because of age also, maybe.
Maybe. Since we talk about this age factor, yeah, could be. That was also one of the reasons, because of the age factor they take more leaves. That was actually, I was also zooming up and seeing why absenteeism is actually coming into the picture. And next is postponed retirement, right? When we have a particular age for retirement in any organization, I think we need to stick on to that, right? If we go beyond that, yes, to an extent it's still fine. But why are we not able to let go the person? He might be a process formulator, or any strong person who has created some process for the organization. No problem. You can definitely give way for the next person to actually take it up and run it through.
Right.
But I think there is again a problem where we find it so difficult to retire at one particular age. If you remember, in olden days we have this voluntary VRS, voluntary retirement system.
Yeah.
I don't think today anybody follows that. They want to be however long they want to be. They want to sit in one place, and they want to make the maximum out of that place. But I don't think that's required, right? And followed by this, we have something called the succession plan, which never happens in any organization, right? When you ask somebody, a manager, who's your successor? They look at north, east, west, south, everywhere, and they finally say, no, sir, we don't have anybody. But why? Are we so insecure having a successor for this position that I'm holding? I think there are a lot of thoughts that we need to start thinking about. We need to talk about that more, equip people to, grow, equip themselves, and, try to help them come up. Be it a successor or whoever it can be. But are we not teaching the Gen Z people of how to grow up in life? I think we are going somewhere wrong.
Somewhere there were times when people, elders would say, like, respect and listen to what others are saying. Others inside what other elders are saying and things like that. So somewhere it should be the other way around as well, right? Because now there is generation which is, for them, the world is very different from what it appeared to me or the older generation. So they probably have much more experience than what the previous generations had. So somewhere, do you think the seniors are intimidated because of Gen Z? I always have this feeling.
Possibilities are there. See, but there are a set of people who understand and who tune themselves accordingly. Simple example which will be helpful for all of us to understand. We didn't have Uber, we didn't have Rapido those days, right? And when somebody comes with a guy and gets down in front of the house, what would be the question? Hey, who's that? Yarra de? They ask, right? And they say, that's where they try to cook up stories, saying, I'm a friend, ma, all this they will say. Now again the same guy comes in, but he has a
he's got
app,
an ID card.
An ID card, an app.
Belongs to one.
So he belongs to one particular transport, connected kind of app, and he's coming and dropping. People don't ask why. So that's the transformation that we are actually seeing in front of our eyes. When we are not able to question it, I think we need to be fair enough in also teaching our younger generation of what is exactly done, how to do it, how to manage it. It will be fair on our part only when we teach them and show them the path where they can grow themselves, upskill themselves. That's very important. If I have everything to myself, it doesn't work. It's like I remember a Vadivel joke, the Tamil comedian Vadivel, he says, I'm not a person like you who actually studied in college for 4 years and just left the college. I want to be loyal to my teachers. That's why I still, after even 14, 15 years, I'm still in the same college and doing the same, course. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a classic example of stagnation.
Very much. And that's how the older people are doing. If you actually connect, this makes you understand the gap. That we don't want to move our seats anywhere. But still we say that we want younger generation to come. But where? Only when you move, they will come inside, right? We need a promotion every year or maybe once in 2 years. But if we get promoted, are we able to fill that position with the person whom you are able to trust? We're not doing it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think all of us, it's a cycle where all of us need to work together. It's not about older generation or the new generation. It's about all of us work together, try to understand each other's responsibilities, trying to help each other, trying to motivate each other.
Right.
That's very important these days, and positive energy plays a very important role these days. If you say you would have found you will find a lot of maybe one or two people in your team or maybe outside. You would, whatever you ask them, they'll say no. A simple example is you go to a shop, you ask them, Anna, can you give me change? They'll say no. But end of the day, he'll still open. He'll have so much of change inside. But what we talk, no. The negative word only comes. So I saw a lot of these things, and whenever somebody asks me change, I'll say, please wait for a minute, let me check.
Yeah.
That makes, I thought a couple of times I tried doing it, and I felt that really made sense. Even if you don't have it, people will say it's okay, thank you so much. Because we made that effort of searching.
Yeah, effort
right?
is what matters.
People see what you do. People believe only what you do. They don't, go by your stories. So they believe what they see. So lot of small, this can be a very small lesson which I learned, but definitely makes a lot of sense. And I'm seeing that in front of me, which gives me, which makes me very happy. So, I think that's definitely a succession plan to be there. Coming back to the same point of succession, we need to definitely prepare somebody to fill in that place. And so, I just want to end saying that we need to definitely have a successor, whatever position it can be. We need to definitely have a successor who will be able to, fill in that position. Let's not look into a replacement kind of a, scenario there. Let's look out for a successor. Simple. We have lovely words in English which defines whether it's going to be a replacement or a succession plan. But when we talk about succession plan, people get into a fear of insecurity. I think we need to avoid that. That's where the older generation actually falls back, thinking that it's going to be very insecure for me if I'm going to train somebody who will fill my place. We need to definitely, ensure that we change that thought process and bring a very good succession plan with any division, any function as such. We definitely have a succession plan. And there's something basically we hear from people, when we say older workers or older employees, we have certain things which comes to our mind. Again, I would say there's some bias with this also, where we say people are less flexible. A Gen Z will be able to stay till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, and he'll be able to extend and work flexible. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. So people are not able to extend and work. That's one kind of way. One kind of way where you look at older employees that they're not able to stretch. Then comes the less motivated thing. I also see this in many places because, like we discussed, Gen Z are so powerful, energetic. They want to do it today and now. But when you go and talk to older, it's okay. We'll do it. You send an approval mail, we'll do it. You get the same tone. When you speak to them, this tone doesn't convey. It's like you'll go half asleep. Okay, sir, I will come back and tell you. This is how your response will be. But a Gen Z, if you talk to sir, when to do, what to do, where to do, how, this fire will be there all the time. But are we utilizing that fire in the right way? No, right? So I think we need to definitely, capitalize on this. And there's another myth that older people are too slow. Older people, that's why we call them as older generation, right? If they are too fast, then they cannot be called as older generation. And adapting kind of a mindset the way is definitely not that great. You have very few people who actually adapt to Android phones and iPhones these days. I still know people who have the basic phones in their hand, and it rings like an alarm, and they turn and talk the phone like this. I'm sure you would have also seen people like that. So there are people who are ready to adapt. There are people who are not ready to adapt also. Let's accept that and progress further. Let's not beat around the bush and say that yes, he's an older employee, let him be with us. No. Then how will we grow?
Right.
That basically depends on an organization, because when an organization has an expansion plan, when an organization is very focused on their vision and mission, I think all this has to be taken into account, where we need to definitely boost our energy. The entire team has to be equipped, and you hit the target. That's where we need to head. So yeah, I think these factors. I think I've given enough number of examples, and we spoke.
I'm just thinking about the point where you mentioned that Gen Zs would can stay up till 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock and do the work. But yeah, like I said, they make it very clear that if these are the working hours, they'll make sure, like you said, they'll put all their energy and finish it off, because they certainly believe there is life beyond work, and they will not compromise on that.
It's basically that you give them a target, they want to achieve it.
Right.
They don't think about, I can still achieve it tomorrow, no problem, because we have not given that today only it has to be achieved. No, they have time, but still they want to finish it as soon as possible. They want to get rid of it. Get lost. How do we get into that mode? So that's the energy that they wanted to show us.
Right.
So are we really utilizing them? That's where we want to.
Like you said, one is acceptance, one is give and take from the older generation,
Right.
then from the newer generation. So that way adaptability is there. That way the older generation becomes more flexible, or newer generation will also be coming forward to ask certain doubts, which that particular nature of work where the older generation is more experienced.
Very true.
And these people can come in and add in technology and other facilities that they have and make it even more better. So now I come to an interesting part of this segment, that is, this is the organization's behavior, or the acceptance for the Gen Z.
Okay.
Now, what do you think Gen Zs have in mind when it comes to, what expectations do Gen Zs have in mind when it comes to organization?
I think it's definitely an interesting question, because the expectation, what we spoke was only about the cost so far, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about their expectation, as in like, except money, what all do you expect? They expect a very flexible environment, right? Don't ask me to come at 8 o'clock itself and sit in one place fixed like this. No, give me some space. Allow me to think, right? So they want that kind of a flexibility where they'll be able to think on their own, or innovate things. Come to you with better ideas, where the work can be simplified,
Right.
where work that takes a task that takes for about 1 hour to finish, they'll be able to finish in 5 minutes. But that all happens only when you give them space for them to think,
Right.
and gone are those days where we say, manager solறது saying, I'm the manager, do what I say. It's no more a school. I mean, in schools people don't listen to you exactly, right? So office, you definitely need to allow people to think.
Right.
So that's something which is very important. Okay, and invest in learning opportunities. Just that they finish college and they are fresh in your office. Let's give them some space and some guidance. Be a mentor. A manager is not only a manager. We spend most of the time in office. A manager has to play multiple roles, right? He's not defined to only one role. He has to take care of them as a father or a mother. He has to take them as a manager. He has to take care of them as a brother or a sister, right? He has to take care of their future. When I say their future, it's not about getting them married or not. How well are you equipping them by suggesting them or mentoring them to upgrade themselves by studying something, right? If I've just done a BE Tech, would you suggest me to do an MBA? You are helping somebody, right? So how many of us do that? We rarely do that. We want everything to happen today. We are very much stubborn that we don't want to think about anything in future. We want to finish everything. I want this candidate. He is my responsibility. I need to do whatever is, I need to get things out of him. how much ever I can. No, give them some space. Give them some additional, thoughts to think that if they can grow, if they can learn something additional, which will be helpful for your team only. He's not going to fly away, right? So why don't we think like that and put their corporate values into practice? We have so many values, trust me. How many companies follow their values and who practice? It's like our theory put into practice only. We hardly do it. When we do that, we add more value to the organization because of the Gen Zs.
Right.
They'll also feel happy and proud working for an organization which has clear values, which has a clear vision, which has wonderful expansion plans and whatnot. That's enough, no,
Right.
for us to grow.
Like here, I mean, in HR department itself, here at Inspirasis, we have so many youngsters. Whenever they come up with different initiatives, each one has such a creative outlook towards things, and they do so much in terms of engaging employees. So I think I mean we must really commend our people who are really doing so well when it comes to getting employees together, professionally, personally, even the breather activities that they conduct. Everything this particular generation is taking over so beautifully.
Yeah. I think I really want to appreciate the entire HR team of Inspirasis because we've been doing a wonderful job, with the support of the management.
Yeah.
It's not going to be possible only by one or two people thinking
Right.
about it. It's about people who are, higher than us, who can understand what is to be done and what makes people happy.
Right.
That way, our management is definitely supportive and our reporting managers are amazingly, supporting us in by all possible means, right? They never say no.
Correct.
No, not never. I have not even heard once them saying this. Whenever we go with a new idea, they say, "Oh wow, why don't we try it and see?" It can fail, doesn't matter.
Right.
But how are we bouncing back? That opportunity comes us only when you say yes.
Correct.
Right? When you say a no, the moment you give an idea, your entire month or the entire year is shattered. You close yourself. You don't want to give any ideas.
Yes.
You're shunned off by saying a no. In that way, I would definitely want to appreciate Inspirasis management team for that matter, because they have given all opportunities for us to try out, progress, and succeed. That's how we've been here, and I think that's the reason both of us are sitting here and discussing about that. To have a wonderful HR team, and kudos and hats off to all the HR managers here, and thanks to them as well, right? Thanks to the management on the whole, where we had so many opportunities to think aloud, to try it out, to succeed, to fail, to come back with a bang, and to perform much more than
Much better,
what
yes.
we did before.
The point that you mentioned earlier that managers who are probably the previous generation, you said we need to provide them the right opportunities, show them the growth path and everything. Also, if that is not happening, even when the Gen Z employee has an idea of coming up with an initiative which will enhance the experience of an entire team.
Yes.
Even if that way it is possible, you accept it and brainstorm over that initiative. What are the benefits it's going to give us, and how well they are going to grow. It's anything is like a trial and error method.
Definitely.
Unless we try, we do not know how far we will go in that particular process. So even that way, also, if Gen Z wants to come up with this they may have like crazy ideas. There's no doubt about it, because that's the energy they bring to the organization. So yeah, maybe sit with them, talk to them, brainstorm, and structure and see how it goes. Even if that level of acceptance comes, somewhere Gen Zs would want to continue in that organization.
I allow all of my team members to try whatever they want.
Right.
Because I'm 100% sure they'll come with something creative.
Right.
And which will be definitely a value add for the organization and the team. So, that's where this word called trust, I keep telling you time and again, because the moment you trust your team, you don't find anything, odd coming into you, and people take ownership of it. And when they, come to you, they also know that Isaac is no nonsense character. They come and talk to you. They have the liberty to come and express whatever they feel like, right? They give you a new idea, right? it can be the smallest of the smallest idea or the silliest idea also. But allow them to come and approach you and talk to you. And when you have that acceptance level, and try, no problem. It's a invisible pat on the back that they have, which encourages them to go miles more than what they're doing, right? So that's very important.
In fact, that acceptance itself, once they start doing it, they themselves will know, okay, how much of this is really going to work, and they might come back to you and say, like, maybe I will take some more time to implement this. We'll proceed with something else or something. So basically, getting into that work and understanding that, okay, this is what I can see,
Right.
And if it works or not, the candidate itself, herself or himself would understand.
Right. So, just to sum it up, as you rightly said, we need to allow them to speak, so that they come up with a lot of ideas and we listen to them. Not necessarily everything has to be put in action, right? Listen to them, jot it down, let them know that you heard them.
Yes.
That's very important. It's not that you need to put it into action immediately. They don't expect that. They want you to listen first, hear them out, and say, yes, we will work together as a team. That's the confidence that you give as a manager.
Right.
And I have been doing this throughout my career. I mean, I'm very proud in saying that, because I've learned from people not by getting hit. I've learned from people by observing them, right? Which I feel is a greatest plus for me. And definitely it gives a lot of courage for you to do that, and people also to support you, right? So allow them to be themselves.
Yeah, whether it is work or anything else, wherever we are humans, and obviously we would want the other person to be patient. Patient listening is very important, and then empathizing with what that other person is going through. I think Gen Z is very clear on that.
Very much.
They want to make others also understand that yes, everything is new. What I am doing, I am also facing a difficulty. I would rather expect you to be little patient and then help me out and empathize with my challenges which are real. And also they, in turn, Gen Z will also have to empathize with the older generation, because they cannot probably, catch up the pace that they are in. So it works both ways.
The best way to assess them is that when you listen, they stay with you for a long time. If you actually see that, see statistics also. It says that more number of people leave the organization because of their bosses or the managers. That is because of the difference or the gap in generation that you have, that you call the generation gap as such, or the manager is not ready to listen to you.
A communication gap also.
Exactly.
That plays a major role.
That plays a major role, and that's why people leave the organization. So I think we need to work on that so that we arrest the attrition part also. I think this is not in the subject, but still arresting attrition is definitely the most important thing and the most wanted thing in the market. So we will talk about it later. Yeah.
So that's about today's episode, where we understood what Gen Zs are looking for in their employers and what employers are looking looking for in Gen Z. Whereas Gen Z is quite clear, we're happy to we will definitely come across so many Gen Zs around us. I mean, we might have in our own organization, you might have in your own organization very soon, or have more of them, because that's what the stats says. Within 2025, it's increase of 27% or something. So without Gen Zs, I mean, it's like you can hate them, you can like them, but you can't ignore them. So it's going to be that with Gen Zs. I think, Isaac, thank you so much for...
Thank you so much. It was wonderful interacting with you.
Your insights on, having Gen Z in the workforce and what could be the great benefits and challenges. You've clearly put it on. So we'll meet again in another episode, again with Isaac, to ask him, or, where you can give us some career tips and upskilling opportunities, and we'll have further discussion again. Until then, do interact with Gen Zs around you. This is the Thought Feed. We're signing off for now. Bye-bye.
Take care. Company looks at recruiters as solution givers or a solution architect, where you suggest certain things, where the organization trusts you and comes back to you saying that, hey, Isaac, this has happened. What can we do? What is an alternate that we can do? What can we look out for? Or how do we sort this issue? how fast we can do this? Those are the questions that management or the business, they come to you for a solution. At that time, if you shun yourself from that place, I think you're losing your, credits there, right? When you, at the same time, when you help them there, you become the hero. Rather, identify what is very good for you. What are you very good at? Invest on that, capitalize on it, and just grow. If you have to learn everything, you need to go step by step. Everything cannot be there. If I give you, a plate of meals and the chicken biryani and fish curry and all that, will you be able to eat everything in one shot and say, wow, it was amazing? No, definitely not. You will not enjoy. End of the day, you will not enjoy. Why do we have food? Just to enjoy and
in
fill
one
it.
thing at a time.
In one thing at a time.